Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another market breakdown. It is Tuesday, December 16. Tuesday, December 16. Got a couple days left in the week, and we are currently in three trades. I haven't done this in a long time. I can't remember the last time I had three active positions on a swing trading, count, or even in the signal group. It's unheard of almost. Two of the trades are NZD CAD. One we opened on Thursday. The other one we opened on Monday. And then we also entered EuroCAD today. So we entered immediately after or right before the 4-hour candle closed. I basically saw price pushing to the downside out of the area of interest underneath the EMA. We had already had a shift to structure on the 1-hour time frame. So this right here was a shift to structure, higher high, shift to structure, pullback, and then we saw the engulfing after the pullback engulfing, and I entered a little bit late, and I gave myself some breathing room here. So we'll see what happens when the market reopens. In terms of news, EuroCAD, NZD CAD, EuroCAD, NZD CAD. We have some Euro news, some USD news. We do have at 4:45 p.m. tomorrow, quite a bit of NZD news, GBP, Euro on Thursday. No CAD news except for on Friday. So we have a news event for every single one of our what's it called? Currencies that we're trading. Moving on. What do we expect to happen on these pairs at the moment? We have a 4-hour lower low, lower high, and we're expecting this to create a new lower low. And on EuroCAD, same thing, basically have a shift to structure and engulfing candle. On the 4-hour time frame, I would consider this being a shift to structure or a lower low, shift to structure, pull back, higher high, pull back, higher high, shift to structure. And we're currently waiting on the pullback in order to continue to sell. So that's what I kind of expect to happen. Daily time frame, that would look like a wick to the upside on the daily time frame, maybe into the area of interest, and then a bearish engulfing or a bearish candle following that. So yeah, we're just expecting continuations to the downside on the daily time frames. Nothing crazy. Now, we don't have a ton of time on my end today, so I'm just going to kind of run through these. We have a double top on the daily time frame on Bitcoin, just pulling back into the double top to continue to sell. SPX is selling, NASDAQ is selling, and US 30 are selling. I would watch for the break and retest underneath some of the 4-hour EMAs. If not, we might see a reaction to the upside. And then gold, we currently have two daily dojis, but the way we're reacting to the upside, I would expect a continuation to the upside. We're currently above the EMAs. One thing to consider, let's see, we might have like a head and shoulders pattern on our hands here. It really depends on if we break and retest underneath the lower time frame EMAs. That would kind of determine what's really happening. Because if we break below and then retest, we will probably sell back into this area of interest down here. But yeah, for these ones, still kind of selling, looking for a continuation. EuroCAD, also looking for a pullback to sell. So pretty simple, pullback into previous structure, area of interest, and EMA to sell. Euro NZD, this is an interesting one. I do believe we should see a continuation here. Daily time frame did close with a rather aggressive bearish doji candle. But what would really tell us what's going to happen is this 1-hour EMA. As you can see, price usually trades pretty consistently below it or above it. If we break below, we'll probably see price shift below, retest and sell. If not, then we'll probably see price continue to push higher. As of right now, I'm still interested in the buys rather than sells. So that's kind of all there is to note there. USD CHF, daily bearish engulfing candle. At this point, I would probably expect to see a wick to the upside and then a bearish candle continuation to the downside. Similar to something we've seen here, just continuation to the downside, potentially a reversal off of this area of interest, but that isn't really guaranteed. So we'll just keep an eye on that one. I would like to see a deeper pullback, but we didn't get that. So I'm not sure what to say about it. NZD USD daily time frame has a daily doji. We're kind of struggling here at a little bit. We might be creating an inverted head and shoulders for buys, or if we break below the EMA and retest previous structures and EMA, we could get sells. So either option is currently still valid. Yeah, either option is currently still valid. Now for these ones, let's quickly go over, I guess, the grade that we have. We'll do weekly time frame, bullish, daily time frame is bullish, and wait, daily time frame. Yeah, daily time frame did shift bullish. And the 4-hour time frame is also currently bullish. So we have 3 bullish time frames, gives us a good foundation for a trade. And then moving on, do we have around psychological level in the current area? Not exactly, but we do have somewhat of an area of interest, which we're kind of far away from, if we're being honest. So we don't exactly have an area of interest. Do we have a pattern formation on the weekly? Not the one we'd like to see. I would prefer, like, it almost looks like we're creating a head and shoulders on the weekly time frame. Are we retesting previous structure? Not exactly. Not retesting EMA, but we do have a candlestick rejection last week. Daily time frame. Do we have a pattern? No. Are we retesting previous structure? That might be what we're trying to do. If we come back lower, we'd be retesting this previous structure. So I would say, yes, we're trying to retest previous structure. We're not retesting the EMA, but if we do have that pullback once again, we will be retesting the daily EMA. And then honestly, if we are trying to take a buy, it would be nice to see a candlestick rejection on the daily time frame, which we don't have at the moment. 4-hour time frame, pulling back into the 4-hour EMA. Do we have pattern? Not exactly. We are retesting previous structures. If we do pull back further, it will be this structure or this structure here. We would be also retesting the EMA, and we would be looking for a candlestick rejection on the 4-hour time frame. We're looking to be above the 4-hour EMA, preferably above a 30-minute EMA. And then obviously we have to have our one of the 2 entry confluences. So let's call it a 30-minute bullish engulfing. That is a 90% trade setup. Obviously there's still a few things that we're waiting for, but this would be a good trade because we have all of these confluences and we have a 90% trade setup. Now, let's move on to a trade that isn't so great, right? Let's, for example, let's see what we have. Euro USD, right? We're looking for a daily pullback, but we don't have the pullback yet. What about if we took counter trend trades, right? If we took a counter trend trade, then our confluences for the counter trend trade would be the weekly time frame is currently bullish, the daily time frame is currently bullish, and the 4-hour time frame is currently bearish. So we have one time frame in sync. Do we have a round psychological level? Yes, we do, right here at 1.175. So if we did have a pullback, which we should on a daily time frame have a pullback to sell, that would be a round psychological level. You have your lower time frame area of interest, which would be the 4-hour area of interest right here. Weekly time frame, there's no pattern. You could consider this maybe trying to create a double top, but we don't have one yet. We're not retesting structure, we're not retesting EMA, and we don't have a rejection yet. daily time frame, we have a candlestick rejection. We don't have an EMA, we don't have previous structure, and we don't have a pattern. 4-hour time frame, we don't have a pattern, but we would be retesting previous structure. We wouldn't be retesting the EMA, and we don't have a candlestick rejection yet. We're not underneath the EMA. Are we underneath the 30-minute? Yeah, we are underneath the 30-minute EMA. So we have this. We have a shift of structure on the lower time frames. And let's say we enter after an engulfing candlestick. This would be what an example of what a counter trend trade would look like. You can see the difference in grade. You're looking at 55% versus the 90% that we were just looking at. Does this mean that this is a bad trade? No, not necessarily. Does this mean it won't hit your take profit? Once again, no, not necessarily, but there's almost half as many confluences, or there's half confluences missing that you could get if you just waited for a little bit longer. So this is why I'm not interested in counter trend trends personally, right? You'll always see me trading with the trend. I may sometimes analyze counter trend trades, but when it comes to actually trading them, I do not send signals because I don't feel like risking my own money or even more so other people's money on reverse trades, right? Or reverse confluence trades. So let's go ahead and quickly run through as many of these as possible in the next 15 minutes. So these three we've already gone over. Here we're still waiting for a pullback. Euro GBP, nothing lovely yet. We do have a pullback into area of interest. If we were going to take buys, we would want to be taking buys above the EMA. So that's kind of what we would have to wait for. Other than that, not interested. Not interested here. Daily time frame on AUD NZD, struggling to buy. Also not interested. We're kind of in an area where we could take potential counter trend trades. But the only time frame you would have in sync is the 4-hour. Once again, not interested in that. Euro AUD. This one is a bit intriguing. Now, why is that so? We're at the area of interest, right? So let's grade this one as quickly as possible. Weekly time frame is currently bullish. Daily time frame is currently bearish, and 4-hour time frame is currently bullish. Now, this one seems like a counter trend trade. It is a counter trend trade. I guess, let's see. Area of interest, daily time frame is bearish. How do we make the 4-hour time frame bearish? Well, the 4-hour time frame doesn't go bearish for a while. That is the one downside of the way that things are. At the moment, we have a really nice rejection on the daily time frame. I would look for a bearish engulfing candle, and that would add a lot more percentage to our system. Now, we could potentially count this right here as an elbow, right? On the 4-hour time frame, that could be an elbow right there. And if that's an elbow, then we have our higher low, higher high, and we would have to wait for a pullback underneath the EMA, shifting the 4-hour time frame bearish. Then you would be taking a trade with 2 time frames in sync. You would have around psychological level in this area, which is 765. You would have an area of interest to be trading underneath on the weekly time frame. You have your head and shoulders right here, shoulder, head, shoulder, or you have your double top, retest of the neckline, retesting previous structures, not the EMA, but you would be retesting. You would have a candlestick rejection next week. So I do think that next week this trade would be better taken than this week, simply because we have to wait for those extra couple of days in order to gain those extra couple of confluences. So here we have a pattern, head and shoulders on the daily time frame, retesting previous structures at the area of interest. Not exactly these previous structures, but there are others like here, 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 and here. That's for you guys to interpret. I would consider this retesting previous structures, but let's say we don't have that, but we do have the EMA. We have our candlestick rejection, 4-hour time frame. We've created a double top. That's another thing to consider, is we do have a double top formation here on the 4-hour time frame. So we have a pattern. We're not bearish, but we do have a pattern. We're we would be retesting previous structure. If we were to sell and retest this right here, that would be considered previous structure. Not the EMA, but we do have candlestick rejections from this area of interest. So we already have a B trade setup. If we're underneath the 30-minute EMA, which we're about to be, that's another 5%, 10%. Shift the structure on the lower time frames. I would look for something. I mean, we already have a 1 hour shift of structure, so technically that counts right there. Is it 1 hour? No, it's not 1 hour. It's 30 minutes. We have a 30-minute shift of structure. And let's say we take a trade after 30-minute bearish engulfing. That's 110% trade setup, even without, actually, I lied. So we only have one time frame in sync. If we take it tomorrow, we would have information, retesting previous structure. We would have good confluences to take a trade that is counter trend trade. Okay, so I guess let me reword what I was saying earlier. I have taken counter trend trades, but they're only considered counter trend because of the lack of confluences that they have, right? I'm not sure what the most recent example of that would be, but I do remember taking one that had the daily time frame that was bearish, but every other time frame was bullish except for the 4 hour had the double top. We broke underneath, retested, and sold. So that's like for you guys to kind of experience and practice on your own. In my experience, I've seen results in both ways, but this is the difference. Like this right here shows you that even though it is a counter trend trade with one time frame in sync, you have all of these other confluences which are supporting the trade versus Euro USD. Euro USD is right here, same exact kind of situation, but the confluences just aren't there. You see how we're lacking a lot of structure, a lot of areas of interest, a lot of market, price action is just not where we want it to be. So this is not a terrible trade. I do like the way it looks. I would consider taking it. Now, if you were to wait, like I said, for the extra shift of structure, you have, then you have your second time frame in sync, then you have the 4 hour EMA, then you have your retesting the EMA, then you have prices retesting the daily structure down here, and all of a sudden you're looking at 120, 130% of your trade setup, so much, much cleaner in that type of aspect. So for right now, am I interested? Yes, I would be interested in this one. Will I take it? Highly doubt I'm taking any other trades today. So just wanted to put that out there. GBP AUD at the EMA, also not a bad place to be selling from, but I do think we're lacking structure, we're lacking rejection, we're lacking EMA, we're just lacking a lot of things. So GBP AUD, not as interested as I would be in Euro AUD. GBP NZD, daily time frames bearish, too much going on here. Not interested currently, but we did have we are seeing quite a bit of buying happening here. Daily time frame is bearish, weekly time frame is bullish, and 4 hour time frame is bullish. Once again, we broke above the EMA, pulled back, and then bought. I think price did exactly what we expected it to do on GBP NZD in terms of buys. USD CAD, price is still selling. We're lacking the fundamental daily/weekly pullback. Still waiting for that to happen this week or next week. AUD CAD, super, super choppy, not interested. GBP USD, price is still running. On the daily time frame, we have a new higher high. Just waiting for a proper pullback on maybe the weekly time frame in order to take buys. I think at the moment we're kind of just, we don't have what we need in order to succeed on this pair. We're still waiting on, we're kind of late, to be honest. We're not really waiting. We're more so just staying away because we missed our opportunity earlier. Still choppy on this pair here. I do think that once we break through this EMA, we should be able to continue bullish. But other than that, I'm not interested at the moment. JPY pairs have all had a pullback. This one has had a rejection of the EMA, it seems. Price is trying to trade above the 4-hour EMA, trading above the lower time frames. You'll notice we had similar consolidations in the past, directly above the EMA, where here we were below, then we were below, then we broke above, consolidated, and then exploded. We were below, then we broke above, consolidated, pushed up. We were below, then we broke above, consolidated, and will probably continue to push up. If GBP JPY pushes up, I would expect other JPY pairs to push up as well. I got about 5 minutes left here, so not interested in JPY pairs at the moment, but huge but, there is potential coming soon, like either today or tomorrow. Like if tomorrow's analysis gives us a daily doji rejection candle or a bullish engulfing candle or something on these JPY pairs signifying that the pullback is ended, then tomorrow we might be looking for buys, or the day after. Ideally, we would be above the 4-hour EMA on most of these JPY pairs. Something like this, break, retest above. GJ, we're already above. Here, we're already above. Trying to break above, still below. And then this is CHF. So for a lot of these, we want to see a push to the upside, a retest, and then buys on JPY pairs. Euro CHF. CHF pairs, weekly time frame, daily time frame, bearish engulfing daily candle. Price is continuing to the downside here on AUD CHF, setting up for some sells with a small daily pullback. Looks like that we're going to get a continuation and a wick fill here. Here, I'm not sure what's really happening. Seems like we could be creating a head and shoulders pattern. 4-hour time frame is underneath the EMA, so we would ideally need a proper break and retest of the 4-hour EMA in order to take buys. Most of these are similar situations. In order to take buys, we want to be clearly above, clearly retest to buy. Same thing here, break above, clearly retest to buy. So that there's no real questions needed to be asked. Break above, retest, buy, and then this one as well, break above, retest to buy. Other than that, here we shifted bearish on the daily time frame. So it looks like some of these are attempting to shift bearish. At least one of them has already. USD CHF daily time frame is still currently bearish. So yeah, USD CHF and it looks like NZD CHF are starting to show signs of weakness, signs of selling. Weekly time frame is bullish, daily time frame is bearish, and 4-hour time frame is currently bearish as well. What I would like to see is a proper pullback, maybe retesting this area of interest, maybe retesting the EMA in order to show that we're actually going to sell. And if we don't, if we don't sell, then we'll just break above, retest to buy. As of right now, not going to be interested in any of these unless you want to wait for a pullback to sell. We'll see what either of those, if either of those things happen. So that's basically it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, if you guys have not, signed up for the TCT, Freddie has allowed you guys to use a coupon, basically what would it be called? I think it's a coupon promo code that allows you guys to do 50% off your first month, which is a pretty good deal. If you guys don't want to spend money on the tool, try it out for free first. And then if you guys decide to, the coupon only works on the monthly subscription for any of these 2 tiers. Annually, you're already getting a pretty good deal just because of the discount there as well. So check that out if you guys have time. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.